The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sewagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machinde, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kiza Besije every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, welcome to The Political Dice.
It's
controversial,
purely political,
well researched,
accurate and global.
Oyagala bya parliament oba council.
Yes, State House oba ghetto.
Ani ayuga ku ground.
Ani bwe babuze.
Okimanyi nga Dr. Kiza Besije aleesa amaanyi.
Olwo fadda bafutsoli abateeseemu obuvaazi.
Oba yo DP eri kuki?
Olwo jeema.
Bano ba MKCG bo baddawa.
Abo bafuna CDF baamala tebabanja. Olwo baba ate bange bali kuki?
Abo bo akina kulabisa simanyanga posturing tebabiri bali mu structure building. Naye ate ono ye.
Ani oyo oba?
Ye ali kuki?
Oyo tumuleketa gamba anyiga mawu.
Ebe ndabena birindira no ku The Political Dice ku The Alternative Digital nange teditenja ewamune.
Farida bikobere
Buli wa Sunday
esawa 2.
This week, the National Unity Platform is remembering and commemorating the lives of over 50 Ugandans that were shot and gunned down in cold blood in 2020. Up to today, nobody has been booked over the death of those people. A total was given to us of 54 people who lost their lives in that particular campaign or operation, and up to today, nobody has been remanded, nobody has been convicted, nobody has been charged for the lives of these Ugandans. Mulago Hospital confirmed that more than 100 people were recorded with gunshot wounds, but the government says it were only 54 people. But even if it were 10, where is the justice for these Ugandans? This particular issue of injustices hovering over this nation has gone on for a time and still continues to ravage as we speak today. In this edition of Face the Nation, I have Counsel Kato Tumusiime from Banturaki and Company Advocates. He is a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court. Today, we touch base on these issues and more injustices, seeking to create a better Uganda for ourselves, but also for the generations to come. You're most welcome to Face the Nation. Counsel Kato, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be part of this show today.
Excellent. It is now, in this particular week, they've made 4 years since Ugandans were massacred in cold blood. Nobody has been charged. Nobody has been remanded. No, nothing, sir. What does this say of the space of justice and equitability and equality in this country?
I should start with saying that it is true that nobody has been brought to books of law to account for whatever atrocities they caused to the Ugandans. It's very sad on that note. But to say, Edgar, it is true that the principles and principles of equity dictate that equity aids the vigilant. That one is no doubt. To say that in these people that were affected, people that were killed, people that were injured, people that are still nursing goods up to today, have their people, their relatives that are supposed to be pushing up to see that there is something that is being done to have that their people get justice in one way or the other. Well, that one said, I will not blame anybody for not following up, maybe because they're indolent and they are not in the know of what they're supposed to do, which remedies they should be seeking out for. These are people mostly affiliated to a political party. A political party that is fully structured, that has the legal fraternity, that has the lawyers that take up all the legal actions against that specific group.
And is the leading opposition party.
Exactly. With the number of members of parliament, I don't know the exact numbers.
57.
Of 57. They have that platform available to them at their exposure and disposal. Have they used that platform to actually advocate for the same?
Before we
This
reach
is 2021.
before we reach them,
I am
because-
driving you to a point
Okay, because it
of
feels like
the why.
let's not blame the
then
victims.
I am not blaming anybody, but I want the public to get to know of why
Okay,
am I
paint that
bringing it in
picture
that
for
light.
us.
Have they used that platform at the floor of parliament to dictate and maybe push their voice onto having these people get justice at the end of it all? Secondly, now that is on the part of a political party and the relatives who must have done something, or who, because they are still in time.
Exactly.
Okay? We have the government. We have the military agencies, the police, the UPDF, and the rest, whose responsibility is to protect people and their property.
They are the ones who shot these Ugandans.
That's very true. And so many videos have come out to bring out this picture. Very terrible, very bad, very hard feeling, but very shocking. We have a full structure in the police, in their tribunal itself. It's good that you, the journalist, helped us to shape and bring out each and every individual, each and every vehicle that were used in that massacre. I should call it a massacre.
Yes, it was a massacre.
Yes. The leadership in those institutions, like I've said, have they come up to tell us the details of those people that were captured in different videos, shooting live bullets in people, in masses, walking helplessly as they were lying on the floor? Have they? That's a negative on their end. Two, the third one should be the institution of the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecutions,
Exactly.
whose role is to investigate actually
On
and
behalf
find
of the
out-
Ugandans.
and find out which offenses have been committed by a certain individual or a group of people.
Yes.
Bring those people to board. So I don't say that I'm blaming any individual, but I am creating a whole picture of how this issue should have been handled, and we are not right up to now. You see, it doesn't add sense to go and commemorate the people that we lost, the people that are lying on their sick beds, nursing the wounds because of the negligence of a group of people that is actually known to us. Because so many TV stations, international and national, came out to display which person was involved in the shooting
So
and
what-
who killed who.
So why is it business as usual, even after all this evidence has been put across, that it's still normal, nothing is being done, and we are continuing enjoying life as usual? 4 years down the road, and everything's still moving forward. sir.
It needs and calls for sensitization of the masses to know their power. That's one. Know their power. What can you do in such kind of an instance? Do you have any cause of action against an individual that caused the death of your person? Do you have any cause of action against an individual that caused injury to your person? Yes, that's the answer. Do we have limitation time on this kind of causes of action? The answer is yes, we have it, but it is prolonged to about 12 years. And a Human Rights Enforcement Act. So within the 12 years, this is the 4th year now, we still have a lot of time to come and bring all these people that committed all these atrocities into the books of law and to account for whatever they did. Okay? I know it is very heartbreaking that no amount of compensation can atone to the loss of a person. Call him your brother, call him your sister, call him your friend. No. But the best that our courts and the judicial system can do for us is to award compensation. To atone that they seem it is reasonable, maybe it can compensate for some part of loss. Maybe it can help you to do some things that were supposed to be done by your colleague or a brother or a person you lost who is injured. Or else if a person is injured, the kind of compensation and damages can at least help you to compensate and maybe cater for the health bills. Because I saw in the news yesterday how many people are still lying on their beds, sick beds. And the kind of pain that was inflicted and that was actually bearable seen in their eyes. It is so heartbreaking.
Do you think the judiciary and the justice system is ready to enter in such political cases? I'm going to use the word political because they are political in nature. There's been a sentiment that is shared by many Ugandans, myself inclusive, that the net of the judiciary is subjective in nature. It holds a few people, then it leaves others. When it comes to these political crimes, nothing is going to be done, and it's still okay. So my question to you is, with such a seared spirit that I feel the judiciary has, how do you think it still has the ability to give Ugandans the justice that they deserve if they sought for it, especially in political cases such as this one?
What we still have, and the remaining part in our context, is the 1995 Constitution. However triggered, however
the law of the
disturbed,
land.
it is still available.
The law of the land.
And the wordings, the framers of that constitution were very key on what should be done, what should be inflicted, what should be seen from our judiciary. That is the independence of the judiciary, impartiality at all.
Is it?
You get? The constitution is clear and talks it in clear words, simple English, that the independence of the judiciary is derived from the people. And it should work towards the interests of the people, not any other person.
Exactly.
But now you talked about, is it? Now that's the answer.
Can we
that
trust
should do.
it?
The
to
process
give us
of
the
how
justice?
the process of how these judges, these magistrates, these justices of the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court are appointed now causes the whole problem.
The president
Because you
appoints.
cannot limit it not to be political, as you term it, which is in some cases true, when you have not avoided the political interference in the appointments. He who appoints, he who pays
The piper determines the tune.
determines the truth. If the reason as to why you were appointed in that office as a judge, as a justice of the Constitutional Court, was the result of your political participation, what do you expect from your results? Will they differ from the political interests that you are coming to serve?
Wow.
It's a clear
Because
question.
I see
No, we shall give examples here because this is not
No, I
too
was
high.
going to give an example right
Of
now.
the Chief Justice,
Chief Justice,
who
yes.
represented the President of this country, okay, as a lawyer,
Yes.
okay? And now he's the man to determine on whether there has been election malpractice or not. Even the same person who appointed him to be the Chief Justice of this country.
So is the law
At
fault?
the moment,
Because the law gives Mr. Museveni and the president the power to appoint those people. So do you think the framers of the constitution were did not envision this?
It is true that the law gives him the power, but the appointment must be by a recommendation from the Judicial Service Commission. It's not you waking up and you say, I appoint Edgar because he participated in an election and lost. That's the problem where it comes in. But another issue should be that we have not had people to actually bring all this to the face of the president. Even those that face him, all this that is happening, because this is reality. Do you think now that it is me and you only know that it is that the appointment of the judges and the justices or even the magistrates should not be a political issue? Are we the only ones? Don't we have members of parliament who are alive to this fact? Don't they know what happens? Even after the appointment of the president, who does the vetting? It is the speaker and a few committee in parliament. Do they bring all these details to us, the public, so that we can give our views on a certain individual who is being appointed the Chief Justice? The answer is no. Not even the media is allowed to enter there. So the whole issue
remind me
rotates.
of Kenya that it is an interview for the next judges is always done in open space where the public can even ask questions and the media is there.
Exactly. That's how it's supposed to be done. The ideal should be that these people come to serve as the citizens. And we are looking at the independence. Whereas the citizens will take these political leaders into your courts before you. But remember, this is a person who participated in appointing you, and this is a person who participated in vetting you to get that office. Will you serve me who did not do anything in you are coming into that office, or you will serve the person who put you there because you want your contract or
so now
term to be renewed?
me who's looking for justice, because ordinary Ugandan Edgar Mathew Karuhanga is going to look for justice there.
Exactly.
So now where do you leave Edgar?
No, that's the
Where
question.
does it leave
That's a
Edgar?
question I should be asking you. You as a media, you have all these platforms available to you. Have you related have you created all this kind of information out for to the rest of the public? The answer is no. You're still lacking a lot of things to do. I will do my role as an advocate. I will do my role as a human rights defender. But remember, without your voice, if you had not called me here to address certain issues, will the public know about some of these issues that are affecting us directly? The answer is no. You still have a lot of roles to do. If you had not come out to portray the atrocities that were committed in the massacre, like you said, in the campaign in 2021, would the rest of the public get to know that? You still have a lot to do. Why can't you use all these platforms, advocate for this kind of changes and amendments that should be done? A person who holds a public office must be accountable to the public, not to the appointing authority, the president in this case.
In a twist, when the constitution is hijacked, what does a Ugandan do in a time where the constitution is there, and when you the lawyers say these things, they sound too good. I hear that many lawyers from across the world come here to benchmark on the laws we have.
That's
so
true.
that means the quality of the laws has never been the problem. It's the implementation itself. So in a situation when the constitution of the country, of the land is taken over, what is supposed to be done by the people themselves?
Article 3, Article 1 of the Constitution.
Power belongs to the people.
Power belongs to the people. But now, the question should be...
In a time when power is taken.
The question should be, to what extent do you have that power? When you go into an election, you vote massively for a candidate A, and so it be the Electoral Commission announces a candidate B. Is that still your power? Article 2 talks about the supremacy of the Constitution as the grand norm of this country. You see?
That every man shall be under this law.
Under this law. Even all the other laws that are legislated and passed by the parliament shall pass the test of the supremacy. They should not contravene even a single article of that constitution. Do you know what happens at the end of it all? So different laws. That's why we keep and spend a lot of time in the constitutional court challenging different laws, because the legislators did not understand what it means that the constitution should be the supreme law of this land. Article 3 talks about defense of the constitution. It's your right, my right, every citizen's right to defend that constitution. If you feel as an individual there is any part, call it a single article or a sub-article that has been threatened to be overthrown, you don't need it to be first be overthrown. Even when you detect any threat to have this constitutional article being tampered with or overthrown, it's your right to come and defend it in any way.
Possible.
And the constitution is clear that there shall be nobody who will be charged for defending and protecting the constitution of the Republic of this Uganda.
Okay.
Have we done that?
But the question is, who determines who's defending?
Have
and
we done that?
Who's determining who's
The
defending?
law is
What you
clear.
may call
Every person
defending-
has that right.
What you
In
may
fact,
call
it is your
defending,
duty.
someone would call it terrorism.
Now, it brings me to
Treachery
the issue.
or treason.
Yeah, it brings me to that issue of if you feel that the constitution has been threatened or overthrown, what remedies do we have under the same constitution? You run to the constitutional court to challenge an act that you feel violates the constitution. Who are these judges that are in those seats? Sometimes I believe they are very knowledgeable people. This is a personal opinion. They are very knowledgeable people. But some of them, even when they know what the laws provide, and they understand, some think to ignore. Some understand, but maybe they lack options on how to interpret and put it into good use. That's where we get a constitutional petition, for example, that has been filed in 2018, but this is 2024 and nothing has been done on the same. We had the Constitutional Court give a judgment challenging the trial of civilians in the court martial by Honorable Kabazikurka.
Yes.
It was a very good reasoning. It is still a very good reasoning. In fact, in that judgment, they referred to this court martial as a tribunal meant to check the people that are in the armed forces of this country. It beats my understanding up to now that in a country that believes in the rule of law, constitutionalism and good governance, we cannot adhere to such kind of decision at the judgment. The Attorney General, in his wisdom, went to the Supreme Court of this country. At least if we have courts that have less work to do, it's the Supreme Court of this country. At least if you look at the cases they handle on a yearly basis, at least they should have time to concentrate on such issues that affect the common me and you, because they derive their power from us as a people. But that constitutional petition, the appeal, is still lying before the Chief Justice's hands and the members of the Supreme Court. What have we done as the media? Have you followed it up? Do you even know that there is that constitutional petition appeal? Or you still rely on the Constitutional Court gave a judgment that the civilians should no longer be tried in a court martial, which is a tribunal meant to try the people? Have you brought it to the attention of the people? Or we still see so many hundred
But there are many
being
revelations
tried
they are
and
made
charged in that court martial as kangaroo as it is, because that's my personal belief on
By the way,
that.
that's also
And I've
why are
always,
you undermining
and I've always told people
why
that,
do you call it a kangaroo?
and I've always told people that a court of law that does not value the principles of the rule of law and constitutionalism, then it serves no purpose for me to referring it to it as a court of law. But it's just there. As
Okay, in cases where some people have been coerced to accept charges, there are many people who claim to have been coerced. And this was the case of the amnesty received by the people of Rwenzururu back in 2021. The same case of the people from National Unity Platform. At a time where people just accept or are coerced to accept things that have been meted on them, what is to be done in such a situation, especially to seek justice for themselves?
Yeah, you have used the good word amnesty. If you remember clear the condition and the situation that surrounded the issue of the Rwenzururu people, that was amnesty. That is legally recognized. Okay? And it was a discussion that was reached out to even before the courts pronounced themselves on the release of these people. It was clear. The people knew what they were going into for. And that is a very good ideal that should be followed. We have another issue called pre-bargain. That is an arrangement reached out to. It is a session created. Before you leave that kind of a pre-bargain session, you know your fate as an individual. But the issue of now coercing me that you accept a charge against you because we can have maybe mercy on you. In the determination of the law, mercy does not work in any way. You get?
It's evidence.
It is evidence that works. If you have been in court martial from 2021, 4 years down the road, now you have not even produced a single witness to give evidence against the accused people, the National Unity Platform people, you could understand them that because of the frustration they have faced in that said court.
But what is it spoke of when some people, without any ounce of evidence, as you've said, are remanded for more than 4 years?
Now that one brings us to the rot in our judicial system. One, you should know that, Edgar, the Constitution gives us all these rights and liberties as individuals. Okay?
Yes, sir.
That in the exercise of the judicial rights, okay, every person has a right to a fair, speedy, and an impartial trial. You get? Now the issue is on a speedy trial is keeping me on remand on a triumph charge, for example, of terrorism. I should use, for example, of being found in possession of firearms and ammunitions. You have kept me on remand for 4 years. No single witness has been brought. No trial has commenced. Does it still serve the purpose of a fair and a speedy trial before a competent court? Those are the questions I'm raising before you. The same Constitution provides for the rights
and the answer is no,
yes.
Right? Hey, because any evidence under coercion is not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. Yes. That admission has also procedures that must be followed for you to take it in as an admission so that you can be able to rely on it and convict me. Okay? The Constitution also provides for the rights, and so many others provide for the rights of the accused person. By that time, from police, people should understand that you are not even an accused, you are only a suspect. Okay, that's why they normally summon you to come to police and give a statement on what they believe you have committed. It's your personal statement. You're a suspect.
You are presumed innocent until guilty.
And at that time, when investigations are still ongoing, it is clear that you must be a free man and keep living your life. That's your personal liberty. The problem we have here is that when somebody reports Edgar to a police station for having involved or committing an offense, before anything is being done, the police will run to have Edgar arrested. That's the problem we are facing in courts of law on a daily basis. Somebody was arrested, detained at a police station for 1 week. This person is arraigned before court, and the argument of the state attorney is that investigations are still ongoing. Then what was the rush for to have this person arrested in the first instance?
Exactly.
And I believe that there is a lacuna that needs to be solved by maybe any amendment or a regulation to be put in place, that where a state attorney gets involved in sanctioning a file where investigations are still ongoing, that person should be taken on in an individual capacity and have him or herself charged. Because that's incompetence of the highest order.
And you realize that many Ugandans will stay in those cells, in those remands, and yet these people don't even have any ounce of evidence. Every time they come, there is nothing.
Exactly. The requirement of the law, is that a person should be arrested where the arresting officer suspects that there is a possible evidence. Okay? There is reasonable evidence on the face of it that can put you to a court of law and have yourself charged.
Exactly.
Do we have still the same? No. That's where they will arrest you, and you will even find that on a police file there is only your statement and a complainant statement. And you ask yourself, because you have faced all these so-called investigative officers, you ask, did you carry the investigations in this matter? They say no. So what did you base on to have this person arraigned before court? They will say now, you see, as long as the complainant made a statement, my role was to also take a statement of the suspect and have him brought to court. Because they are on a rush of the 48-hour rule. And I think they are misusing it.
Okay.
They are misusing it. Because the purpose of the 48-hour rule is that by the time you conduct an arrest, you must have completed your file. Do your investigations, put a person on a watch, follow, and have your file complete. So that by the time they arrest a suspect, the file is complete, maybe 99% complete. That by the time maybe they are only requiring you to make a statement as a suspect. So that when you make your statement, the file is complete and it is sanctioned. Exactly. Because if a file contains all the evidence that is needed in putting you to your own defense, then it should be ready to be sanctioned. But the problem is, even these police officers that conduct the arrests, the so-called the investigative officers and the criminal investigative department officers, don't have even an idea of the ingredients of the offenses. Okay? Because each offense has ingredients that the state attorney should look at, that the judge should or magistrate should look at to say that this person really committed an offense.
Exactly. There has to be a base.
Okay? But in the absence of all this knowledge, that's why we have all these people being arrested and tossed about, misusing the window of the 60 days before the trial, the hearing commences in the magistrate court, for you to be able to get what we call, excuse me, what we call that, forgetting the best term. What we call mandatory bail. Okay, they are misusing that window.
Okay.
Even in the high court, where they misuse the window of the 6 months period.
Yes.
Okay, that before the hearing commences within the 6 months period, then you are entitled to have mandatory bail by that court.
Yes, sir.
Before your file can be sanctioned or can be committed to
a
the
certain
high court.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Counsel, we are concluding.
Yes.
And I want you to paint, as you conclude that point, I want you to also paint a picture of where the country is now going. With such a time, with all the issues you have raised, and all of them in a negative light, and I'm sorry to say it, but everything seems to be at a downward trend. The judiciary seems to be going down to the gutters. And yet this is the arm that holds the country together. It's the arm that brings justice to the people. What next as a country?
I believe that in all this that we are discussing, we are creating a picture of how this country is being run.
Yes, sir.
We have a few issues to understand and maybe have them addressed to reach at the bottom of these all problems. The advantage we have is that we have identified where the problem starts from. That is a political issue in all the determination of things that we are seeing. In
They
the
may go
appointments.
right or wrong, it's a political
Whichever
issue.
way you take it, we have a political issue that needs to be
Addressed.
defined and addressed immediately, actually. Two, we have the people that are involved in the implementation, one, in the making of these legislations. Do they have any idea of how these regulations should be? The answer is no. That they lack the basics. It all drives us to the political question. We should be streamlining how our politics should run, because the politics takes the highest charge of this country on the appointing of all these judicial officers, on how the judiciary should run. Three, I think and believe that the issue of having so many judicial officers appointed on the basis of what they have done for the regime should be
Cadreship.
abolished. The cadreship, because you have a lot of cadres in this. And the disadvantage is that even so many of us in practice, we understand and know. When your case is fixed before a judge, a magistrate, B, you know.
You're going.
You're just wasting your time, but to go and represent your client on whatever you can do, but there is nothing much we can do.
Yes, sir.
To solve all this is that we should take it on as a mantle to do this civic education to the rest of the people, advocate for what we believe in, and maybe make it available to the rest of the public.
Okay, sir.
And by doing that, we shall create an informed citizenry and a group of people that can be able to demand, to put questions to the rest of the leaders so that they can get the answers.
Thank you. This has been Face the Nation, and I have been with Counsel Kato Tumusiime from Banturachi and Company Advocates. We've been talking about everything judiciary, and of course we're having these conversations to create a better Uganda, not only for us, but also for the generations that are yet to come. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. I'll see you again next Friday at exactly 5 p.m. Please do tune in as we bring any other person to face the nation. I told you have these conversations to create Uganda that is going to be better, not only for us, but also for the generations to come. Up next is, we shall see you next time at exactly 5 p.m. every Friday right here on Face the Nation. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. Good evening.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.